the Agile Brand.
Welcome to One Amazing Thing About Constructor. I'm your host, Greg Kihlström, and I'd like to welcome Eli Finkelshteyn, CEO of Constructor, to the show. And he's going to be sharing one amazing thing about Constructor's AI shopping assistant with us today. Eli, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Greg. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this and seeing the product with you. So why don't we get started, though, with you giving a little background on you and your role at Constructor, as well as tell us a little bit about what Constructor does.
Sure, my pleasure. So my name is Eli. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO at this company called Constructor. And what we do is we're a product discovery platform built for enterprise, very large e-commerce companies. And so if you go on to one of those companies' websites or apps, for example, we work with a company called Sephora, who a few of you might have heard of. If you're searching for something or you're browsing for something or you're getting recommendations, anywhere that they can show you a product, our job is making sure that the product that you see is something that's really attractive to you, something that you might want to buy, something that's personalized to you, that really gets your tastes. What we really want to do is we want to connect the products that are most attractive to each individual user to that user to give them the best possible shopping experience that we can.
Great. So we're going to look at the AI shopping assistant in a second, but first I just wanted to ask, you get to choose the feature that you show here. So, what was it about this feature that made you want to showcase it today? And, who's the audience for it and why is it important to them?
Yeah, so when we were starting this company, one of the things that really got me excited about it is I really felt like product discovery online as a whole could be much better than what we were used to. Like I kind of felt like the last real innovation that we saw in product discovery online was, and this is at least just my opinion, it would be like recommendations, which if I remember right, Amazon invented in like the late 90s.
Right, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, exactly. And not a whole lot has really changed since then. Like maybe the UI has changed a little bit, but it's like the way that we search right now, it's very similar to the way that we searched in the 90s. The way that we like browse categories right now, it's very similar to what we did in the 90s. Recommendations haven't changed a whole lot since then. Maybe there's like some new strategies or something like that, but it's essentially the same stuff.
Yeah.
What got me really excited about the AI shopping assistant is I think that generative AI is one of the first places that really gives us the opportunity to change that. So one of the things that we've never really been able to do, one of the use cases that we've never really been able to solve for is if somebody has like a vague idea of what they want, they could explain it to another human. Like if they were talking to like a store associate or something like that in a store, there's not really something similar to that online right now. Like if you need more than a couple of words, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
And that's been the case for a very, very, very long time. And so like what you would do if you had a query like, I don't know, like I'm going camping with my kids, like can you recommend some snacks for me or something like that? It's not something that you would put into a search bar. It's probably something that you would go off of an e-commerce site in order to look for. And that's not a really great experience for you as a shopper to need to go off-site to do that research. It's also not a great experience for the e-commerce business because they don't want you to go off-site. There was just a technological limitation. The thing that we were trying to solve with our AI shopping assistant is exactly that. And it was a really hard problem up until generative AI came out. But now that it is here, it's all of a sudden something that we can start offering. And so, I don't know, at least for me, that was a really, really exciting thing. And I wanted to show more of it to the world.
Nice. Well, yeah, let's take a look. Why don't you share your screen and walk us through it?
Sure, my pleasure. So what I'm going to show you folks here, this is a demo site. So a couple of our customers were nice enough to let us use some of their data for this. It's all been anonymized, so you won't be able to tell where it's coming from, but it does use real data and it does use real clickstream underneath the hood.
Nice.
So the way that we've implemented our AI shopping assistant here is when you click into the search bar, we're giving you the opportunity to try it out. You can search as normal if you just type something in, like milk or whatever, you just get a normal search. But if you wanted to, you could also click on one of these smart search modes here to try to do something a little bit new. You can also do this via a chatbot or something like that if you wanted. We just figured people are so used to going to the search bar, that's probably a good place to start. But at the end of the day, it's all APIs underneath the hood, so you can use it however you want.
Yeah.
And so I'll give you an example. So we can go to one of these prompts, and let's just try that query that I was telling you about before. So maybe I'm going camping for the first time with my kids. What sort of snacks should I buy? Right. And so now the system is going to think for a second, and then I'll start giving you some ideas.
Nice.
And they'll be categorized as well. So we're trying to give you basically like the same sort of thing that the best store associate that you could ever meet would give you. So they would probably tell you like, okay, well, maybe one thing you could consider is some trail mix. And here are some great trail mixes that we have, and maybe one of these is interesting for you. And you can go on and look at more of what we have here. Maybe granola bars might be a good choice. You can tell that these are mostly dry products, which for a camping trip is probably a good idea. They won't really spoil. Maybe some beef jerky is a good idea. And so you kind of get this same similar experience to what you would have within brick and mortar that you've never really had online before. Like searching for something like this, doing the research for something like this would have been a pain before, something you would have needed to go off site before. And now we're trying to let people actually do this on site and give them this better experience. Does the
Yeah, I
idea
mean,
make sense?
to your point, it's like to do this online, you'd probably go to like a blog post that that a camping enthusiast wrote and take you off site. Might be an informative blog post, but then, do you go back to the same e-commerce site or do you go somewhere that they recommend? So in other words, the sale potentially gets lost, or just kind of you get lost in something else versus, just kind of staying focused. Yeah.
Exactly. And so this is really exciting to me because it just feels like we're at the beginning of something, and it's such a rare experience.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I grew up when like, the internet was already starting to be around. And so I've always felt like I missed this boat and like I wasn't working at that time. And now with generative AI, it's just really cool to be around at the beginning of something and really feel like we're at the beginning of something and to be able to take a part of that.
Yeah, definitely. So no, this is great to see for those brands out there that have e-commerce and but don't have something like this yet. What would be a next step for them to start? What should they be thinking about to implement something like this?
So, at least in my opinion, like because we're at the beginning of something right now, there's two things that are critically important for people to do. Um, One of them is to realize or recognize what success means at this point. Success doesn't mean every single person on your website starts using this. Like that's not how the adoption works for anything. That's not how the adoption works for the internet or for AI in general. Success means that you get some percentage of your users, and it's fine if it's a small percent, but it's some percentage of your users that comes and tries this out and does something to indicate that they really like it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that they're coming back and they're using it more regularly. Maybe it's that they're telling you within like NPS surveys or something like that that they really like it. Maybe it's some indication that they're showing their friends that they really like it, that there's adoption that's starting to happen. The next thing is experimenting. Because, like with everything new, you're probably not going to get it exactly right at the beginning, nor are vendors like us going to get it right exactly at the beginning. Like what you're seeing right now, this is probably not what you're going to see in 5 years.
Yeah.
But the way that I think about it is the companies that did really well with e-commerce, they were the ones that started experimenting before everybody started shopping online. Like the ones that had that conversion, like the Walmarts, the Amazons of the world. And so that's really what we consider to be success at this point. It's starting to do that experimentation and starting to see the first sparks of success and doing that before your competitors.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Ellie, thanks so much for joining today. One last question before we wrap up.
Sure.
For those watching that got a brief view of Constructor today, what's the best way for them to see more and get their hands on it themselves?
Yeah. I mean, we really like talking to our customers and to prospects because I feel like I always learn something and the team in general always learns something that way. So reach out to us. We're friendly. We don't bite. We're not going to pressure sell you or something like that. We'd be happy to give you a demo and, try to poke holes in this, like try to figure out where it doesn't work for you. And if at the end of that you feel like it does, then we'd love to maybe work together.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Well, again, I'd like to thank Eli Finkelshteyn CEO of Constructor, for joining the show. You can learn more about Eli and Constructor by following the links in the show notes.
Thanks so much for having me, Greg. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for showing this off.